Captain Ethan Miller stood on the bridge of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon, staring at the main screen. His eyes were tired after 3 years in deep space. The ship had been mapping this sector for months now, far from the familiar stars of home. "Captain, I'm picking up something unusual," said Angela Martinez. Her fingers moved quickly over her communications panel. "It's a signal. Definitely artificial." Ethan walked to her station. "Show me." Angela displayed the signal pattern. It pulsed with a clear rhythm that couldn't be natural. "Where's it coming from?" Ethan asked. "That planet, sir." She pointed to a blue-green world on the screen. HD 2187. Dr. Olivia Wright joined them, her eyes wide with excitement. "The readings from that planet are extreme, Captain. Gravity is 1.8 times Earth normal. The atmosphere has higher oxygen levels than we're used to, and there are regular electrical storms across the surface." "Sounds like a rough place to live," Ethan said. "Definitely a death world by standard classification," Olivia agreed. "Similar to Earth in many ways, but more intense." Lieutenant Paul Carter looked up from his tactical station. "Sir, if there's intelligent life down there, they must be pretty tough to survive those conditions." Ethan nodded slowly. "Just like humans." The bridge fell silent as everyone considered this. Humans were known for evolving on a challenging world. Earth's varying temperatures, natural disasters, and diverse predators had shaped humans into adaptable survivors. Most aliens they'd encountered so far came from gentler worlds and found Earth terrifying. "Should we answer the signal, Captain?" Angela asked. Ethan took a deep breath. His orders were clear: explore, map, and report back. First contact was risky, but discovering another intelligent species that evolved in harsh conditions could change everything. "Yes," he decided. "Send the standard greeting package." Hours passed as they waited. Ethan paced the bridge while Olivia studied the planet's readings, and Paul ran battle drills, just in case. "Captain," they responded. Angela called out suddenly. The main screen flickered. An alien face appeared. It had tough, gray-green skin with ridge-like features. 4 yellow eyes blinked independently at them. Its mouth was wide with visible sharp teeth. "Translating now," Angela said, fingers flying over her console. The alien spoke in a series of clicks and low rumbles. The computer processed the sounds, and words appeared on the screen. "We are the Krell. You enter Krell space. Who are you? How do you survive?" Ethan stepped forward. "I am Captain Ethan Miller of the Earth exploration vessel Horizon. We come from a planet called Earth. We are humans." The alien's eyes narrowed. "You live in space?" "No," Ethan replied. "We come from a world with high gravity, varying temperatures, and many dangers, like yours." All 4 of the alien's eyes widened at once. "Impossible. The soft ones from the stars say no other species can live as we do. They fear us. Call us Deathworlders." Ethan smiled. "We've been called the same." The alien was silent for a moment. Then it made a sound the translator couldn't process. The crew looked at Angela. "I think that might be laughter," she said uncertainly. The alien composed itself. "I am Chief Commander Vexlar. The soft ones have lied to us. We are not alone." "No, you're not," Ethan confirmed. "With your permission, we would like to send a team to meet with you properly." "Yes," Vexlar said immediately. "Come, see how the Krell live. We will show you our world, and you will tell us of Earth." After the transmission ended, the bridge erupted with excited talk. Ethan raised his hand for quiet. "This is what we've been searching for," he said. "Another species that understands what it means to evolve on a challenging world. Dr. Wright, Lieutenant Carter, Angela, you'll join me on the landing party. Let's make history." As they prepared for the mission, none of them could know how this meeting would change the fate of both their species and the entire galaxy. The landing shuttle touched down on the rocky surface of HD 2187. Ethan felt the extra gravity immediately as he stood up. His body felt heavier, and his movements were slower. "Everyone okay?" he asked, looking at his team. Dr. Olivia Wright nodded as she adjusted her equipment. "The gravity is intense, but our training prepared us for this." Lieutenant Paul Carter rolled his shoulders. "I feel like I'm wearing full combat gear, but I'll manage." Angela Martinez took a deep breath of the filtered air. "The atmospheric mix is strong, but our masks are handling it." They stepped out onto the planet's surface. The sky above them was a deep purple, with flashes of lightning in the distance. 3 Krell waited for them near a massive stone building. Chief Commander Vexlar stepped forward. Up close, the Krell was even more impressive, nearly 7 feet tall with powerful limbs and thick skin that looked like armor. "You walk well on our world," Vexlar said through the translator. "The soft ones from the Confederation usually collapse or need special suits. Earth has regions with different gravity and conditions," Ethan explained. "We're adaptable." The Krell led them into the building. Inside, the walls were covered with intricate carvings showing Krell history. Angela took pictures of everything, feeding the images back to the horizon for study. In a large central room, other Krell gathered to see the humans. They kept their distance, watching with all 4 eyes. "My people are curious," Vexlar explained. "You are the first aliens to walk among us without fear." Dr. Wright took out her scanner. "With your permission, I'd like to learn more about Krell biology." Vexlar made that strange laughing sound again. "Yes, we want to understand humans too. This is Mekra, our chief scientist." A smaller Krell stepped forward, carrying tools of its own. Dr. Wright and Mekra began sharing data, their scientific curiosity overcoming any language barriers. Lieutenant Carter found himself surrounded by Krell warriors who wanted to know about human fighting techniques. Soon they were demonstrating combat moves, adjusting for the gravity differences. "Your species has fought many wars?" asked the Krell warrior. "Too many," Carter admitted, "but we've learned from them." Angela worked with a Krell named Zivra to improve the translation system. They sat together, comparing words and phrases. "Your language has many ways to say the same thing," Zivra noted. "Yes, we have many cultures on Earth, and each has its own way of speaking," Angela explained. Ethan and Vexlar walked through the city, talking about their worlds. "The Galactic Confederation told us we were unique," Vexlar said. "They said no other intelligent species evolved on a high-gravity world with extreme conditions." "They told us the same thing when they first contacted Earth," Ethan replied. "They seemed surprised that we had spread across our planet despite its dangers." Vexlar stopped walking. "They fear us. They restrict our ships, limit our colonies. They say it's for safety." Ethan nodded. "We've faced similar restrictions. They call it containment policy for Deathworld species. Yet you built the horizon and came here," Vexlar observed. "We're explorers. It's in our nature to push boundaries." The Krell made a gesture with all 4 arms, as it is in ours. That evening, the humans and Krell shared a meal. The humans ate their own food, while watching the Krell consume meat that was still moving. "Tomorrow," Vexlar announced, "we will show you our training grounds, where young Krell learn to survive. Then we wish to hear more about Earth." As the humans prepared to return to their shuttle for the night, a Krell child approached Angela. It held out a small carved stone. "A gift," it said simply. Angela accepted it with a smile. "Thank you." Back on the shuttle, the team discussed their observations. "They're so much like us," Olivia said. "Different biology, but similar attitudes. 2 species from harsh worlds," Ethan mused. "I wonder how many more there might be out there, isolated and restricted by the Confederation's policies." None of them realized yet how important this question would become. 1 week after the humans first landed on HT 2187, a new ship appeared in orbit. It was sleek and white, much larger than the horizon, with the spiral emblem of the Galactic Confederation on its hull. "Captain, we're receiving a transmission from the Confederation vessel," Angela reported. Ethan, who had been reviewing data with Olivia, looked up, put it through. The main screen displayed a thin, pale alien with large black eyes and no visible mouth. Its voice came through a translator device on its chest. "This is Ambassador Nylixian of the Galactic Confederation. Captain Miller, your presence in this sector is unexpected. We were not informed of human contact with the Krell. We were on an exploration mission when we discovered them," Ethan explained. "First contact was successful." The ambassador's eyes narrowed. "I must insist on meeting with you and the Krell leadership immediately." When they gathered in the Krell's main meeting hall, Ambassador Nylixian sat as far from both humans and Krell as possible. Its breathing apparatus hummed loudly. "Your worlds are classified as restricted zones," Nylixian stated. "Direct contact between Deathworld species violates Confederation Protocol 447B. Protocol 447B. Vexlar questioned. "We were never informed of such a rule." "It is for the safety of the greater galactic community," Nylixian said. "Species from extreme environments pose unique risks when allowed to interact freely." Ethan leaned forward. "What risks exactly?" The ambassador shifted uncomfortably. "Deathworlders have aggressive tendencies, enhanced physical capabilities, and survival instincts that can be unpredictable." "You mean you're afraid of us?" Lieutenant Carter said bluntly. "Caution is not fear," Nylixian responded. "The Confederation has monitored 17 Deathworld species. All show concerning patterns." Olivia spoke up. "Have you ever allowed those species to meet and form their own conclusions?" The ambassador didn't answer directly. "I must inform you that Earth will now be placed under quarantine status until the Council can evaluate the situation. No Earth vessels will be permitted beyond your solar system." The humans and Krell exchanged glances. "The Krell have already been under such restrictions for 50 years, Vexlar said. "We can build only small ships. We may visit only certain worlds, always with Confederation supervision. These measures ensure harmony," Nylixian insisted. After the meeting, Ethan and Vexlar walked alone through the Krell city. "This is not right," Ethan said. "They're treating us like dangerous animals." Vexlar's 4 eyes blinked in sequence. "My people accepted these rules because we believed we were unique. Now I wonder if all Deathworld species are controlled this way. We need to know more about these other species," Ethan said, "and why the Confederation is so determined to keep us apart." Back on the horizon, Sam Rodriguez, the ship's engineer, was working with Skvor, a Krell technology specialist. They were linking their computer systems when Sam noticed something strange. "This Confederation data packet has unusual encryption," Sam said. "Much stronger than standard communications." Skvor studied the code. "It arrived with Ambassador Nylixian's ship. Perhaps we should examine it more closely." They worked together to break through the security layers. What they found made Sam's blood run cold. "We need to get the captain," he said. "Right now." That evening, in Vexlar's private chamber, Sam and Skvor showed what they had discovered. "These are classified Confederation records," Sam explained. "They show at least 3 previous instances where Deathworld species nearly made contact with each other. In each case, the Confederation intervened," Skvor added. "Sometimes with misinformation, sometimes with threats." Ethan studied the data. "There's more. Look at this research program. They're studying Deathworlder biology for potential weapons." Vexlar's tough skin darkened with anger. "They study us while pretending to protect the galaxy from us. The question is," Ethan said grimly, "what do we do with this information?" None of them noticed the small surveillance device hidden in the corner of the room, transmitting everything back to Ambassador Nylixian's ship. Ambassador Nylixian watched the recording with growing alarm. The humans in Krell had found the files much faster than expected. The ambassador's thin fingers tapped rapidly on a communication panel. "This is Nylixian. Security has been compromised. Requesting immediate intervention team." Back in the Krell city, Sam and Skvor dug deeper into the stolen files. "Look at this," Sam said, pointing to a list of planets. These are all classified as death worlds. 17 in total. Skvor studied the data. Each has intelligent life. Each is restricted from deep space travel. The file showed details about each world. Nereus, a high-pressure water planet with intelligent aquatic beings called Morrigan. Charis, bathed in radiation that would kill most species, home to the insectoid scath. Pyrrhus, a volcanic world where silicon-based lithoids had evolved. The Confederation isn't just keeping us apart, Sam realized. They're hiding our existence from each other. Dr. Wright joined them, looking through the biological research files. Her face showed growing horror. They've been collecting genetic samples from every Death World species, she said, looking for what makes us able to survive harsh conditions. Why? Asked Skvor. These notes suggest they're trying to develop biological weapons that would affect only Deathworlders, Olivia replied, while leaving other species unharmed. Lieutenant Carter, who had been quietly listening, spoke up. They're preparing for a war they're afraid might happen, but creating the very weapons that could start it, Ethan said, shaking his head. Vexlar paced the room, all four eyes blinking in a pattern that Angela had learned meant deep distress. My people trusted the Confederation, Vexlar said. We believed their restrictions were for everyone's safety. Suddenly, alarms sounded throughout the Krell city. A guard rushed into the room. Chief Commander, Confederation ships are entering our atmosphere. Many ships. On the horizon, the crew watched as 5 white Confederation vessels descended toward the Krell city. Their weapons systems were active. Captain, they're jamming our communications, Angela reported. I can't reach you or the team on the surface. Prepare the shuttle, ordered Kate Rogers, the second in command. We need to get our people out of there. In the Krell Command Center, Ethan and Vexlar watched the approaching ships on a large screen. They know we found the files, Ethan said. They will try to silence us, Vexlar agreed, and continue their deception. The communication system crackled to life. Ambassador Nelikshin's voice filled the room. Attention Krell leadership and human visitors. You have accessed restricted information. This is a violation of Confederation security protocols. Surrender the stolen data immediately. Or what? Vexlar demanded. We are authorized to use necessary force to contain this breach, Nelikshin replied. The Confederation cannot allow dangerous misinformation to spread. Ethan looked at his team. Each face showed determination mixed with concern. We can't give in, Olivia said. This isn't just about us anymore. Sam nodded. It's about all the Deathworld species they've kept isolated and lied to. If we surrender, nothing changes, Lieutenant Carter added. They'll just hide the truth better next time. Vexlar turned to Ethan. What would humans do in this situation? Ethan thought for a moment. When faced with a stronger enemy, we don't always fight directly. Sometimes we change the rules of the game. How? Asked Vexlar. Ethan looked at Angela and Skvor. You two are our communications experts. Is there a way to send a message to all those other Deathworld planets at once? Show them what we've discovered. Angela's eyes widened. We'd need to access the Confederation's own network. Their main communication ship is right up there, Sam pointed out. It would be dangerous, Skvor said. More dangerous than doing nothing. Ethan asked. Vexlar made the Krell laughing sound. You truly are Deathworlders, like us, always finding a way to survive. As the Confederation ships surrounded the city, Ethan, Vexlar, and their teams began planning their most daring move yet. The Krell city had gone into lockdown. Confederation ships hovered overhead, weapons ready. Inside a secure underground room, Ethan, Vexlar, and their teams worked quickly. We have 2 hours before they send ground forces, Lieutenant Carter said, checking his watch. Angela and Skvor sat side by side, their fingers flying over control panels. They had built a makeshift transmitter using parts from both human and Krell technology. The Confederation network has strong security, Angela explained. But every system has weaknesses. Skvor nodded. Their communication protocols were designed for species from gentle worlds. They never expected someone with Krell reflexes to interact with them. Dr. Wright organized the stolen files, putting together a clear message for other Deathworld species. Sam worked on boosting their signal strength. Even if we break into their network, Ethan said, how do we know the other Deathworlds will believe us? We're strangers to them. Vexlar considered this. We must show them proof they cannot deny. The files alone may not be enough. What about a live broadcast? Olivia suggested. If they see humans and Krell working together, talking directly to them. That could work, Ethan agreed. But we'd need to hold the connection open long enough. Outside, Ambassador Nelkshin's voice boomed through speakers. This is your final warning. Surrender immediately, or we will take action. The ground shook as Confederation ships fired warning shots nearby. Time's running out, Carter warned. Almost there, Angela said, not looking up from her work. Their system has a maintenance access point that updates every 30 seconds, if we time it perfectly. Skvor's 4 eyes blinked rapidly as they synchronized their attempt with the system's rhythm. Now, Angela pressed the final command. The screens in front of them flickered, then showed a connection status. We're in, she exclaimed, but they'll detect us soon. Send the files first, Ethan ordered, then prepare for the live broadcast. Packets of data streamed out through the Confederation's own network, reaching distant worlds that had been kept isolated for generations. On the horizon, Kate Rogers watched the Confederation ships suddenly change position. They've detected something, she said. All ships are redirecting power to their communication arrays. In the underground room, Sam called out, they're trying to cut us off. I'm rerouting through secondary channels. The files are sent, Angela reported. Setting up video transmission now. Screens lit up around them, showing glimpses of different worlds. The blue underwater city, a hive-like structure on a barren plain, a glowing red landscape with crystal towers. On each screen, confused faces appeared, the Morrigan, the Scath, the Lithoids, and others. This is Captain Ethan Miller of Earth and Chief Commander Vexlar of the Krell, Ethan began, standing beside Vexlar in front of the camera. We are speaking to all Deathworld species in the galaxy. The Confederation has lied to us all, Vexlar continued. They told each of us we were unique. They restricted our development. They kept us apart. Dr. Wright stepped forward. They've been studying us for weapons research. The files we sent show everything. The beings on the screens reacted with shock, anger, and disbelief. Questions flooded in faster than they could answer. Suddenly, the building above them shook violently. They're bombing the area, Carter shouted. Keep the transmission going, Ethan ordered. Vexlar spoke urgently to the camera. The attack you hear proves our words. Ask yourselves, why does the Confederation fear our communication so much? The ceiling began to crack. Dust and debris fell around them. Connection failing, Angela reported. We're losing them one by one. Ethan grabbed the camera. Remember this. We are not alone. We are not dangerous simply because we survived difficult worlds. Together, we can. The transmission cut off as the room plunged into darkness. Emergency lights flickered on, revealing worried faces. Did we send enough? Olivia asked quietly. Sam checked his equipment. The main files went through completely. The broadcast reached 13 of the 17 worlds before we lost connection. Then we've done what we can, Ethan said. Now we need to survive what comes next. The ground shook again as another explosion hit nearby. Vexlar stood tall in the dim light. My people have survival shelters deeper underground. We should go there now. As they gathered their essential equipment, a Krell messenger burst into the room. Chief Commander, urgent news from orbit. The Confederation ships. They're being called away. What? Vexlar asked. Why? The messenger's 4 eyes blinked rapidly. Reports of uprisings on multiple worlds. The Confederation is facing a crisis across the galaxy. 3 days after their broadcast, the Horizon received its first response from another death world. The message came from Nereus, the high-pressure water planet. "Captain, you need to see this," Angela called from her station. Ethan hurried to the bridge. On the screen, a streamlined being floated in what looked like a tank of water. It had blue-gray skin, 4 long limbs, and a crest of fins along its head and back. "I am Elder Mira of the Morrigan," the being said through a translation device. "Your message has reached us. For generations, we believed we were alone in our ability to withstand extreme conditions. The Confederation told us other species would fear us if we left our world freely. They told us the same lies," Ethan replied. "My name is Captain Ethan Miller from Earth. We wish to meet with you and the Krell," Elder Mira said. "We have much to discuss." Similar messages arrived throughout the day. The Scath, insect-like beings from radiation-soaked Karis, made contact next. Their leader, Hive Director Ticket, spoke in rapid clicks that the translator struggled to keep up with. "The Confederation restricted our ship's radiation shielding," Hive Director Ticket explained. "They claimed it was for safety, but now we see it was to keep us isolated." The lithoids from volcanic Pyrrhus sent word later. Their crystalline bodies glowed with internal heat as they spoke. "For 1,000 years, we believed other worlds were too cold for intelligent life," said Core Keeper Vox. "We were told our heat would harm others. But you have shown us the truth." In the Krell City's main hall, Ethan and Vexlar met with representatives from the Horizon crew and Krell leadership. "The Confederation has gone silent," Vexlar reported. "Their ships have left our system, but they watch from a distance." "They're in crisis mode," Lieutenant Carter said. "Reports from across the galaxy suggest widespread protests on many worlds." The truth about their Deathworlder policies has sparked outrage even among their core species. Dr. Wright displayed a map showing the 17 Deathworld planets. "We've made contact with 11 so far. Each has faced similar restrictions and lies." "What happens now?" asked the Krell Elder. Ethan looked at the faces around him. "We have an opportunity to build something new. An alliance of species the Confederation tried to keep apart. An alliance of the excluded," Vexlar added. Sam spoke up from where he'd been working with Krell technicians. "We've modified our communication systems to work directly with each other, bypassing Confederation networks. We're calling it the DithNet." He smiled, "though we might want a better name." "The Alliance of Adaptive Species," Dr. Wright suggested, "because that's what we are, species that adapted to survive in extreme conditions." Over the next week, representatives from the other Deathworld species began arriving at HD 2187. Special environments were created for each: pressurized water tanks for the Morrigan, radiation-safe chambers for the Scath, and heated rooms for the lithoids. The first full meeting of all species was held via video links. Each representative shared stories of their world, their evolution, and their struggles with Confederation restrictions. They feared what they did not understand. Elder Mira of the Morrigan said, "Our ability to withstand crushing depths seemed threatening to them. As did our tolerance for radiation," added Hive Director Ticket. "And our internal heat," Core Keeper Vox concluded. Vexlar stood tall before the gathering. "Apart, we were controlled. Together, we show that diversity brings strength, not danger." Ethan noticed how each species had brought different perspectives and abilities. The Morrigan had advanced underwater agriculture that could help solve food shortages. The Scath had developed unique radiation-based technologies. The lithoids understood geological processes that could predict natural disasters. "We should form a formal alliance," Ethan proposed, "not to threaten the Confederation, but to show them a better way forward. Each of our species has developed unique solutions to survival. Together, we could solve problems none of us could manage alone." The vote was unanimous. The Alliance of Adaptive Species was born. As the meeting concluded, Angela received an urgent message. Her face grew pale as she read it. "Captain," she called to Ethan. "Long-range sensors have detected something massive entering the galaxy. The Confederation is sending out distress signals across all channels." Ethan and Vexlar exchanged worried glances. Their new alliance was about to face its first test. The alliance leaders gathered in the Krell Command Center to study the incoming threat. Long-range scanners showed massive dark shapes moving through space. "What are they?" Ethan asked. Dr. Wright analyzed the data. According to Confederation records, they appear to be the Void Heralds, a spacefaring predator species that hibernates for thousands of years between feeding cycles. The Confederation knew about them. Vexlar asked, all four eyes wide with surprise. "Yes, but the records were classified," Olivia explained. "The last appearance was over 3,000 years ago, before any of our species joined the galactic community." Hive Director Ticket of the Scath clicked rapidly. "Our ancient stories tell of dark times when stars disappeared. We thought they were just myths." The communication system lit up with desperate messages. Confederation worlds were under attack. The Void Heralds moved from planet to planet, draining energy from stars and technology alike, leaving darkness behind. "The Confederation ships are failing," Lieutenant Carter reported. "Their weapons have no effect, and their shields collapse when the Heralds approach." Elder Mira of the Morrigan spoke from her water chamber. "The Heralds create conditions that most species cannot survive. Extreme cold, radiation bursts, gravity fluctuations." Ethan looked around at the representatives of the Alliance species. "Extreme conditions," he repeated slowly, "like the ones we all evolved to survive." Understanding dawned on their faces. "We are Deathworlders," Vexlar said. "What others fear, we have adapted to withstand." Core Keeper Vox of the Lithoids glowed brighter. "My people can function in near-zero temperatures by generating our own heat. Scath thrive in radiation that kills other species," Tizket added. "And Morrigan can resist pressure changes that would crush most life forms," Elder Mira said. Ethan nodded. "Humans have endurance beyond what most species can imagine. We evolved to pursue prey until it collapsed from exhaustion." They formed a plan quickly. Each species would contribute ships and volunteers based on their unique abilities. The Krell's strength and tough skin made them ideal for direct combat. The Lithoids could operate in the extreme cold of space. The Scath could handle radiation zones. The Morrigan could withstand the pressure changes near collapsed stars. And humans, with their endurance and adaptability, would coordinate it all. Within hours, a combined fleet launched from HD 2187. They headed to Lyria, a Confederation core world that was directly in the path of the Void Heralds. When they arrived, the scene was chaos. 3 Herald ships, each the size of a small moon, surrounded the planet. Confederation vessels drifted powerless, their crews struggling to survive as life support systems failed. Their ships weren't designed for extreme conditions, Sam observed from the Horizons engineering station. The comfortable environments they're used to are exactly what makes them vulnerable now. The Alliance fleet moved into position. As they approached the Herald ships, their systems began to struggle against the energy-draining field. "All ships, switch to backup power," Ethan ordered. "Minimal life support only." For species from gentle worlds, such conditions would be deadly. But for Deathworlders, it was just another challenge to overcome. The Krell ships led the attack, their tough hulls resistant to the Herald's physical attacks. Lithoid vessels moved through the absolute cold to place disruptors on the Herald's hulls. Scath teams navigated radiation fields to disable the Herald's main weapons. Morgan ships rescued stranded Confederation crew members, their vessels designed to maintain stable internal pressure even as the external environment fluctuated wildly. The human ships, including the Horizon, coordinated the assault. They relayed information, adjusted tactics, and kept the Alliance working as a unified force. "They're retreating," Angela announced after hours of battle. The massive Herald ships were pulling away from Lyria, moving back toward deep space. The Alliance had won their first victory. On the planet below, the Confederation citizens watched in awe as species they had feared and restricted came to their rescue. As Ethan looked at the view screen showing the retreating heralds, he received a message from the Confederation Council. "Captain Miller," said a humbled voice, "the Confederation requests immediate talks with the Alliance of Adaptive Species. We need your help." Ethan smiled at Vexillar. "Tell them we're on our way."